I feel like for me, I'm like, it's not exactly how I would say it, because AI creates a better version of anything that I say.
It's not necessarily better, but like there's some AI-isms in the way seeing AI writes, etc. It's like if you read a lot of AI content, you can start telling basically. There's multiple ways to deal with that. First of all, there's a skill called humanizer that actually lists all the AI-isms in how AI writes and helps erase them. It works pretty well. The other thing is, like, I think, honestly, you're chasing the wrong horse. Most of the time, your post is not flopping because it's written by AI. It's because it's not interesting. And like, your hook is weak, your visual is weak or whatever. It's like, and the truth is a lot of people, their social profiles were not successful before AI. And so they don't necessarily know what good means. And as a result, they will blame the AI for their lack of success. But they haven't proven to me yet that they were able to do it without the AI anyway.
Welcome back to another episode of The Pursuit of Purpose. Today, I am joined by Gael Breton. He is from Authority Hacker, and he's got a very interesting past in running one of the largest SEO communities online, courses and whatnot. He's got a ton of experience just in the digital era, I would say. And recently, I met him through a community that I'm a part of called Dent. That's run by Daniel Priestley and some other entrepreneurs. And he's just a wizard when it comes to AI and implementing AI in your business and life. So I'm very, very excited to talk to him today. Gael, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me, Chris.
So, yeah, I'd love to dive into like let's go back to just you're running this big SEO community and you saw like Google changing tons of stuff overnight. Your business basically evaporated and you went into like a rebuilding phase. But what I remember you saying, and you can shed some more light on this, how many years ago was it, or months ago, where you saw what was happening with AI and you kind of just went all in on the future of AI and investing and teaching people how to use it better?
I mean, we started using AI in our SEO, like towards the end of our SEO cycle, let's just say, just because it was like, creating content, all of that, it was the early days of ChatGPT, basically. And what happened is it's not AI that necessarily killed it. It's more like we used to focus on a particular type of site, which was content publisher sites, blogs, etc. And yeah, Google decided to not surface these kind of sites anymore in search results. There was a big update called the Helpful Content Update, which I think was in 2022, something like this, that really killed a lot of these kind of websites. And that was a lot of our customers. And so, like, we were teaching that business model, and it's like, I'm not the kind of person who'd be happy selling something that doesn't work anymore. So we could still sell it. And the truth is, we have ex-competitors who are still trying to sell this. We think it's a bad idea. So we decided to stop ourselves. And, as I said, towards the end of that cycle, we were already using AI. We didn't jump straight away into like teaching it and be like, oh, we're just switching gears. We actually took a year off. Not exactly off though, a year to kind of like get good at all this stuff. And we walked into businesses and just basically did custom consulting and implementation. And the idea is like, again, like we try to be credible when we do things. So it's like, I don't feel like being the guy who just like was doing SEO 2 months ago and bada bing, bada boom, I'm an AI expert now. And so what we did is we actually walked into real businesses. We implemented AI solutions for multiple companies, did consulting, did all of that, etc. Spent some time learning in the field, getting our hands dirty, and to be frank, making a lot less money than we used to selling our courses. But the point is, it wasn't about the money. It was about actually being a credible expert. And so we did that for a year. And that ramped up our learnings. And the fact that we had no product and basically no product to run just means we could do like every day. My only focus was get better at this stuff, which accelerated the learning. I had no responsibilities other than that. And so yeah,
I will say though, I'm curious, when you getting better at AI, because it's so powerful and it can do anything, I've found that getting better is way easier when there is a business objective.
Which is why we jumped into business. Yeah.
It's like if I was like, I'm going to get better at playing guitar. And it's like, okay. But if you were like, I want to play this particular song by this date, now you're laser focused and you can actually feel good and make progress. So what were you deploying this like energy towards of like solving processes for what?
For example, like again, we came from the marketing background, so we helped marketing companies. So, for example, like actually a podcast like this, for example, like a high-profile podcast like this one, where I was helping the host automate his prep for his interviews, for example. Um, and it's like it was pretty deep actually. It's like again used multiple scrape. It didn't just use search. It went on LinkedIn and scraped the profiles and did all of that. It scraped the transcript of other interviews they've done and see the points where they hesitated, etc. Highlight these things, and it was pretty advanced note preparation for like a high profile podcast, for example. We helped marketing agencies automate all their pipelines as well. So that was like, writing video scripts, doing that kind of stuff. And again, sounds simple now, but when I built this stuff, that was Gemini 2.5 Pro or 2, like that kind of stuff. Like, it was a notch below what we have in terms of models today. It was a little bit more complicated to build multi-agent type stuff that now you can just like one shot on Claude Code probably. And so, yeah, that's the kind of stuff that we were doing. And I agree with you. It's like the reason we actually did consulting was not for the money, but it was to work on real problems. Because I think it's quite easy to think you're productive and just get nothing done and just, you end up doing nothing useful. And so that was really the goal. The goal was like, okay, let's just walk into companies. Literally, we didn't know AI, so we just literally undercharged and we're like, let us try it. And people would just do it. And then that's kind of how we gained experience, basically.
Yeah, I think I've heard someone say, point AI at the constraints in your business. Just think like identify what are the bottlenecks, and that's where you should be deploying AI.
Find the highest frustration usually. It's like, especially with employees, right? If you try to convince people in your business to use AI, like there's a lot of people who are like anti-AI right now, especially in America and stuff. It's a big thing. But if you tell them that you're going to help them automate the part they hate the most about their job, you get a lot more buy-in. We also learned like, the psychology of like deploying it in teams, etc., as we were doing this with these businesses. And so
The
that was
psychology.
yeah, because a lot of people are afraid of AI. A lot of employees are like you're deployed into a company. The CEO hired you, and then there's a team that's like literally trying to work against you so you fail so that they don't get fired. That's how they feel, at least. And so there's a lot of like buying to get and all of that. And so like how do you make these people your allies rather than your enemies and so on? So it's like deploying into businesses, there's a lot more than the technical solution. There's also getting the team to adopt the solutions you're building. Otherwise, they just dropped like literally a few weeks after you're gone.
Yeah, I'm curious, like, let's dive into what's actually working today. Like, what are the high leverage things that are for small businesses? And when I say small businesses, like 5 to 10 million, 5 to 15 million in revenue, what are the like things that a company of that size is going to get value out of or should be, I would say, assuming that they're deep in Claude, what should they be thinking? Okay, yep, I'm doing that. I'm doing that. Oh, I'm not doing that.
I mean, honestly, most tasks can use some degree of automation right now, whether that's, again, like preparing for calls with your customers. So, for example, if someone enters a lead form on our website, like we have a full brief on them, including all the touch points they had with our business, that's on Notion. So when I jump on the call, like everything's ready. I have an outline for the call. It has studied their business. It has highlighted the main arguments I should make to them to convert them, all of that, etc. So, for example, that can help conversion. But it's also, for example, your website, right? It's like at this point, I just drop a message on Claude, and our website is updated, basically. And not only that, but it's also the marketing work on the website. So, for example, our SEO. I can just say, hey, you optimize this page. I will connect to Ahrefs. It will look at the competitive pages. It will update it. It will wake up 2 weeks later, and then it will just check if the updates it did actually helped with the SEO and learn from that and read from its past chat log, etc. And so pretty much like it's not like what's working. It's like what can you not do in terms of running an online business with AI and what should not use it. It's like every role and every task has a degree of AI that can help. That doesn't mean you replace all humans. And, the sales call still needs to be done by a human most of the time, for example. So they're still here. But it's almost like you need to build infrastructure around these humans to actually maximize the value of their time. And that's the systems that you build. So it's hard to just tell you like what's working, what's not working, because it really depends on what's most valuable to the business.
The principle of like the 10-80-10 rule, humans kick off, they set the scope, the request, AI does 80% of the legwork, and then humans come in, clean up the last 10% and ship the thing or whatever.
Pretty much, yeah. And then it's like at the beginning, you need to kind of oversee it more. And then, like, if you use a skill system, for example, in Claude, you can really keep updating your skills until they're good enough. And so the idea is like, as you run them, you give feedback and it makes it better. And then eventually, when they're good enough, you can automate them and you can have the bot do most of the work and you just pick it up when it's done, you know?
Yeah. And so because you like building the skill library, um, one of the things that I'm curious if you have a skill for, we now probably have, I don't know, close to 100 different skills. And I think, like in most things in life, the 80-20 principle, there's probably 20% of those skills that are 80% of the value. And there's probably like a good portion of them that are stale and out of date or should never not be referenced anymore. Just like keeping your library of skills clean so that the best ones are getting used and they're continuing to improve, and then you're cleaning house on the bad ones to not like accidentally be referenced an old process or something like that.
You can, so if you use GitHub for your files, you can actually tell when something was last updated. And it's kind of nice to have a skill that actually sweeps through and highlights everything that has been stale on my workspace, for example. And then it's like every week it just wakes up, it prepares the report, and that thread's just waiting for me to pick it up whenever I want to, and then respond. And then it's like, hey, there's all these things that are stale that you haven't touched. Do you still want it? And then I just say yes or no, and then it will either get rid of it or archive it or whatever, and or keep it if I say it's going to be useful in the future. So you can build skills for your skills to maintain your skills. It's like, it's infinite, you know.
Do you still use OpenClaw?
I've used it a little bit, but I'm not a big fan of like fully automated chatbots that wake up without you knowing and giving them lots of access. So I've never been a big fan of it. And the truth is, you can do most of it on Claude and Codex these days.
Yeah, because I was gonna say that I downloaded it and tried, like I installed it on a Mac Mini, gave it its own email address, did the whole thing, and then that was probably in January, and then it seems like it was March when Claude Code, and there's just a bunch of updates that happened, and the remote control and all this stuff where I was like, it feels like I'm basically getting 80 or 90% of the same value. And then the bigger shift for us was you ended up having to pay API token rates when you were using OpenClaw instead of your subscription usage in the Claude Code. And that was like, okay, it's a no-brainer. We'll just
You
switch
can still
back.
do it with OpenAI. So OpenAI still lets you use a Codex subscription in these bots, but it's not going to be forever, right? It's like they lose money on these subscriptions. Like it needs to at least grow their brand. And if you're just using it transparently through another bot, it doesn't help growing their brand equity. And so, like for example, Claude, what they've done is actually there's an update coming out on June 15th, where they will still let you use it, but they will let you use the equivalent of the value of your subscription in API fees. So let's say you pay $100 per month, then you get $100 in API fees, which is a lot less than what you get from your $100 subscription, right? We're talking like 20 times less. And so you get a little bit of usage, programmatic, but it's not going to be that good. And so the way I explain to people is it makes sense to align yourself with the companies that make the models, because they will subsidize the use of these models in exchange for you using their products. Basically, it's their marketing. You absorb their marketing budget. But then when you use these third-party open source ones, well, you have to plug a third-party one, and they will charge you API fees eventually. Like OpenAI doesn't do it yet, but once they do, that's it. The loop is closed.
Yeah, what is the like we're using Claude Code to build a lot of apps right now, as well as we just started playing around with Replit. And Replit, it's hard. I don't know if there's a way to what I want to know, and this is more from just like an interest of myself, a dashboard of if I would have built this in Replit or if I built this thing in Claude Code, what did it cost me from my usage of the subscription as like a fraction of what I could have done versus what will it cost at like regular rates? Because I was just trying to figure out, I want to continue learning how to use the tools in the way that's going to be most economical in the near future once the subsidy goes away. But it's hard to know, like, there's another part of me that's like, aren't businesses won't Claude or Anthropic and OpenAI find or like integrate into their models ways to be efficient? Because there's some people that are like, oh, they just want to encourage and they're trying to get you to use more tokens. And I don't think that that's the case. It's like, yeah, there's a short term payout that they could get if they like extracted a little bit more value because they had a way that the model could make you use more. But in general, there's such a demand that I feel like they want to figure out a more efficient way for everybody, because driving the cost down ultimately drives more usage on their platform.
It's a bit of both, right? It's like, right, they have a need for immediate revenue. They want to IPO this year. They need revenue. And they make revenue by selling more tokens. So it's like, let's not forget about that. Literally, the entire stock market relies on this right now, right? It's like the stock market is AI right now. All the crazy bull run that you're seeing. And if they fail the IPO, the stock market will crash. So they have a need for immediate revenue right now. That is very important. However, you're right. They also have a shortage of compute. So it's like, actually sometimes they don't even have enough GPUs to serve things at the right speed, or they have to serve like slightly lobotomized versions of the model, etc. So it's kind of a fight between both, but they basically have a certain amount of resources and need to max it out all the time and make the most money out of it that they can. So it's like, if they are in surplus of compute, then yeah, they want to token max and they want to sell you as many tokens as possible. And then when they are struggling, like Anthropic was before they did their deal with SpaceX, for example, recently, then they actually try to kind of slow you down. So, for example, there was a scandal where they were like A/B testing versions of Claude subscriptions without Claude Code, so people use less tokens, etc. And that would hurt their conversions, but it was just a way to throttle the demand because they couldn't handle it because they had so much demand at the beginning of the year. So it's like both can be true, and week to week, depending on the compute deals that they have with each other, it changes all the time, actually. But in general, they will give you more if you use their surfaces. So if you use a Claude surface or if you use an OpenAI surface, you will probably always get more, and that will be their way to asphyxiate the rest of the market. Basically, you get their marketing budget that buys you tokens. That's pretty much how you need to see it, and that's why for most people it makes sense to focus on that, because as these subsidies go down, the cost of these things will go up, and they're getting you hooked right now. The prices will go up, and then you just have to pay more for the same thing. And depending on the surface you've picked, the price will be very different.
Do you have any idea, or what sources have you found that if I'm paying $200 a month and we're like, using Claude Code, all like, obviously not 24/7, but probably 12 hours a day, we're using quite a bit. We get maxed out on the weekly usage, like, 12 to 24 hours before the week's over. It seems like pretty consistently. But is there a way to gauge what is we're paying $200 for the Pro Max or whatever the thing is with Claude, and for however many, we have six people on our team. But I'm like, does that mean, like, people have been speculating, so we're going to be paying $5,000? Like, I'm like,
I
no,
don't
there's
think you
no
would
way
pay
that they're
that.
gonna.
But if you
What's that?
paid API rates, you would pay that. Yeah, there's a lot of apps that like meter the tokens that come in and come out, and it's not perfect because there's cache tokens and input and output tokens. They're all priced differently, and so it's not perfect. But these apps that have been tracking, they've been tracking $3,000 to $5,000 per month of API cost for a $200 subscription. So that's the market value. Like if you're enterprise, right? If you're like the big plans, they don't sell plans like that. They give you $20 per seat, and after that, it's API rate, right? That's how Entropy grew their revenue so much recently. It's not, and so a lot of big companies do pay these rates for their staff right now, and it basically trickles down, right? It's like the enterprise is like you get only the $20 plan, and after that you pay API rate. The team plan, which is the one that most small businesses buy, you can buy the $20 plan and the $100 plan, and after that you pay API rates. And for individual plans, the max plans, you can get $20, $100, and $200, and after that you pay API. So it's like the more you go down, the more it's subsidized to essentially grow the demand, and then the more you become bigger and you need these kind of like enterprise tools, security tools, sharing tools, etc., the more they make you pay API prices. That's kind of how it works.
Mm. So you're saying that the research that's been done is a Pro Max essentially is like a 3,500, did you say, or 3 to
Three
5,000?
to $5,000 of API cost. Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible for 200
Um,
bucks a month.
Yep. Obviously, not everyone drives that much value out of these subscriptions, and not everyone uses all their subscription. Like it's, with the 5 hour limits, etc. It can be sometimes hard to reach a limit if you have a smaller number of sessions. But like, yeah, it's like it's incredibly subsidized right now. It's VC money, right? It's like that money will want its money back one day, and so like, yeah, it's like enjoy it while it lasts. But also, you've got like a lot of people are like, oh, but then that means that I'm going to have to pay more to do what I'm doing today, and that's not necessarily true, because the models do get smarter over time, right? Today's Opus might be a haiku in 2 years, right? And then the model will cost like 20 times less money. So there's a world where today's level of intelligence gets cheaper, and actually your subscription covers it. And at the same time, the frontier, the best model possible, gets more expensive. So what we're having a market that just opens like a crocodile, right? It's like you have the top end that gets more expensive, and you have today's level that just steadily drops in price, right?
Yeah.
So
And that
both are
might be
true.
good enough. That might be good enough for most stuff, but yeah, there's still going to be a need. The newer models, like right now when we're building apps, um, it seems we've built a number of skills and found stuff on GitHub, just like building app building skills that seem to do like it's producing pretty good output. Um, but at the same time, it's still hilarious how it's like it builds a thing, and then you're like, okay, there's a bunch of bugs. Go find all the stuff that is not incorrectly built or is weak or could fail, and it comes up with 15 things that it could improve. And then you ask it again, and it finds more stuff, and it's just like, it's doing things right now that are, um, whatever it, it's like, oh, I don't know how I missed that, and then it goes back and
It's
fixes.
lacking the attention, basically. It's losing attention, and then it's like you need to redirect it. But there's actually tools that are coming out to fix that, right? Have you heard of the /goal command, for example?
Slash go.
Goal, GOAL. Like,
Oh, okay, no,
so you can do /goal, and then you can say, when you build an app, you can run like a bunch of tests, and you get all the errors that come up, right? So you can say /goal, fix all the unit test errors, for example. That would be something like that. And it's like, what it's going to do is it's going to run a first run. Then it's going to be like, I'm done. And it won't be done. But what happens is it triggers a second LLM that runs the tests again and checks against the condition that you give. And then if it doesn't validate, if there's still errors showing, it will relaunch itself, and it will just go on loops forever until the test passes, for example. And so like many people now are running these goals for like sometimes they last 2 or 3 days for the biggest ones. They can just keep running for 2 or 3 days on like a big goal. And so like it's almost like we are building tools around the limits of the LLMs right now. And when the harnesses get better, I'm not even sure you need like much more intelligence to build an app without errors,
yeah. And this is like a GitHub thing you can download, or this is built into
It's
Claude
built
now?
into Claude Code and Codex, actually.
So you just say goal, and then go like basically test the app and make sure it's ready for production.
You need to give it a goal that is measurable. So that's like a number of errors against the script. You cannot say just make a good app, because how do you argue this is done?
Yeah, what's done look like?
What does good mean? So it's like people have a problem with definitions with this. It's like they need to give something that's pretty much deterministic, and that's a hard yes or no answer, basically. And if you can prompt that way, then you can have the LLM recursively improve against that prompt. So let's say you build a website. You can say, I want 100 page speed score on the Lighthouse page speed test by Google, for example. And then if you run that, it's very easy for the LLM to run the test and say, is this 100 or no, right? And then it just will keep doing that, and it will keep iterating on the website until it hits that point.
That's awesome. I love that. So yeah, what the for someone that's listening to this, that's like, okay, I understand this can be applied to every task in my business. What are the things that are like, I would love for you to talk about, you automated a decent amount of your own marketing and just like content creation. Can you talk through that and just like how the process that you implemented to get to where you are now for that?
Yeah, I think the demo that you saw was the one where I take my call transcripts. So like even this podcast, I'm transcribing it now as it might be an interesting source of data. And then I have a whole skill and process where I have an LLM that sends a sub agent that mines interesting stories in there and things that I'm talking about, etc. And then it has a ton of rules on like how to write social media posts, right? It's like rules on how to write for LinkedIn, rules on how to write for X, rules on how to write for Threads, rules on how to write for Facebook, and it adapts to like the personality of each platform, who is there, etc. Like the average age, the lens that works, the visuals that work, etc. And so it's able to take each idea and transform it into posts that match this platform and put them directly into a social scheduler for me. So then I can just quickly review it and just press schedule for the posts I like, or like even lightly tweak them if I want to change something. But the idea is, yeah, it saves me a lot of time because I hate the idea of like sitting in front of a computer and be like, oh, I need to write some social posts now. I'm really bad at this. But when I'm on calls and talking to people, I'm usually sharing interesting things. And so it's able to just repurpose that for me.
And not only like to be clear, it's images, not videos yet, correct?
No, I'm not doing videos. And the truth is, I don't want to make fake videos of me. I don't think that fits our marketing. I'm okay with that.
Yeah. But what about not like in motion graphics and things like that? You're not doing anything like that?
You could do it with what's the name? There's a I forgot the name. Hyperframes, I think it's called. And there are plugins that can do motion graphics. The truth is, it's still not fully there for me. I still think we're very anti AI slop. So it's like if it's not really good, I'm not interested in doing it. And I feel like video is still not. It was still like one model away. I think Seedance is a very good video model. The motion graphic stuff is like it's okay, but you can tell it's AI. Like if I see it on the video, I can tell immediately it was done by AI, and usually that means I don't use it.
What about the I'm just thinking where you say tell like I feel like there's there are different things that I've heard and I can see where people are like, I deliberately will like leave typos in my social post, and so now people are having the AI make some simple typos for them so that it looks like it's real and not AI, and so it's like there's just like weird, like everybody finds these little loopholes, and they're not. It's not like a bad. It's just trying to game human psychology slightly to be like, oh, okay, that was. But it's like so much of what we're reading is from AI, anyways, and we all know that. That it's like, how do you, yeah, how are you thinking about that when you're looking at a post that was created by AI? It was based on something that you said at some point, but it's not I feel like, for me, I'm like, it's not exactly how I would say it, because AI creates a better version of anything that I say.
It's not necessarily better, but like there's some AI-isms in the way seeing AI writes, etc. It's like if you read a lot of AI content, you can start telling basically. There's multiple ways to deal with that. First of all, there's a skill called humanizer that actually lists all the AI-isms in how AI writes and helps erase them. It works pretty well. Um, the other thing is like I think honestly you're chasing the wrong horse. Most of the time, your post is not flopping because it's written by AI. It's because it's not interesting, uh, and uh, and it's like and you're not like your hook is weak, your visual is weak or whatever. And it's like and the truth is, a lot of people their social profiles were not successful before AI, and so they don't necessarily know what good means, and as a result, they will blame the AI for their lack of success, but they haven't proven to me yet that they were able to do it without the AI anyway. So quite often I point at bad marketers rather than like I have AI written posts that you can tell they're written by AI and they have hundreds of comments on LinkedIn. Why? Because they did the right job at kind of like engaging people and steering some certain communities and doing all of that, and there was an angle to them, etc. And you can tell it's written by AI. Some of them even have M dashes, etc. Like you can tell. And the point is, it's because your high level concept is bad, and people don't care basically. And so if someone was like extremely successful before and then starts using AI is less successful, sure. If someone has never been successful at social media, I don't think you can blame AI necessarily. Like you haven't proven that yourself would do a better job.
Interesting. So it's like you're the filter and you're
Yeah, you still run it, right? It's like, yeah, it's like the high level concept, like what your post says, hopefully still comes from you. If it doesn't, then it's just like what you're hoping to press a button and people are gonna engage with your stuff. That's just not how it works. It's like, and if it was, there would be hundreds of thousands of people doing it, and then eventually it just dilutes, right? You need to add some value to this, basically. The idea that AI is just gonna do everything doesn't work, and that's why I have it in my calls, because that's the value added that I have. It's like it comes from me. It didn't do some googling, or it didn't steal someone else's content, or it didn't do any of that. It's my content and it's my ideas that are being repurposed for the platform. But if you have no ideas to share, it's going to be difficult to make it work with AI.
And do you have what's your favorite social media scheduler poster thing? What's the app that you're using?
I'm using Typefully right now. It doesn't do Instagram, but it's very good for text posts. And it's fully, they have agent skills and a command line interface, so a terminal tool. And it can do everything, basically. So it just kind of queues stuff for me. Yeah, I can show you quickly if you want, actually. I'll show you some drafts of the post I'm mentioning, right? Let's
You said
pick.
this is called Type Fully.
Yeah. This is basically, this one's interesting. This one's interesting because the angle is interesting. So imagine this is a LinkedIn post, right? And it's like, I think I had a consulting call with someone and I was telling them, like, stop posting on LinkedIn. The money is in email. And then LinkedIn posts will not make you money, basically. They will not make you rich. And so the hook that AI chose for this was very strong. Posting this on LinkedIn to tell you the money is not on LinkedIn. That's a strong hook. And I didn't say that on the call, but it did a good job understanding it's posting on LinkedIn. And actually put something contrarian here, because everyone is reading LinkedIn right now, and a lot of people on LinkedIn, they're trying to get engagement so that they grow their business, right? So it's like, you're wasting your time. That's basically what I'm telling them, and that's why it's a good post. It's in your email list. If you send one email, I can send one email, go for a walk with my dog, and come back to 5 figures. I've had single emails do $29,000 and $22,000. I would probably replace the image here, by the way. I put this image, which I think is too generic. I would probably put a screenshot of the stripe from the emails just to make it even more provocative. So like, it made the draft, but like, I actually edit these drafts, and it's like, I will tweak it a bit. And I think if I put the right screenshot here, this post is going to be a banger. And it's like, now the honest part, because I don't hype these numbers, those numbers come from a large list built over years, sent over real deadline, real offer behind them. The list size matters, the offer matters more. But here's the pattern I see constantly. Founders pour hours onto social posts chasing reach. They send their email list maybe once a month, with no real reason to act. That's backward. Social is rented attention, email, etc. And so that's a decent one. It doesn't have too many AI-isms as well. You can see it doesn't have too much of like, this is not this is that. It doesn't have M dashes. It doesn't have all of that, etc. And I think the weak part here is the image. I think the image is too AI for me, and I would put a screenshot of my email tool instead. And this post would probably get a lot of reactions. But overall, all I need to do is go take a screenshot now and press schedule, and I'm good, basically. And I wouldn't have had the idea for this post.
That's awesome. And so this is so I see it does X, Threads, and LinkedIn.
You can do
more than that. That's just what you use.
Yeah, that's the three I use. I think you can do like Blue Sky as well and Mastodon, but they're not very big anyway. It's text post, basically. It's text post
Not
platforms.
Facebook.
Not Facebook personal profile, but maybe Facebook pages.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. But what I like is there is a lot of agent skills.
And then basically all the stuff in your terminal can get put directly into here, and then you're looking at it through here. But you could also post through the terminal if you wanted.
Yeah, and usually what I do is, and then I'm on my bed and I just like on my phone, open Typefully, and I say yes, no to post, basically, right? It's like I don't even open it on my computer most of the time.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then the skill, Typefully is not making the graphics and things like that for you. It's literally just looking at your transcripts, pulling out interesting stuff, drafting things. And you were saying also that you're like deconstructing your ICP, it sounds like, and what they might find interesting or what is important to them.
Yeah, and it's like, for example, like the way I do it is like having contrarian having contrarian first statement, for example, works really well. It's like I've just kind of like built in these little mechanics in there. So, for example, you see the other one was contrarian, but this is also contrarian. Everyone's trying to write the perfect prompt. I went the other way. More programming, less prompting. Sparking curiosity. And again, it's like, for me, it's like people who try to learn AI. So yeah, I have all these content in there. I have like, who is the ICP? What do they react to? What are they afraid of? What do they want, etc. I just think of all of that when it crafts my posts.
And the way that you were able to think through what do they react to, is that initially it's guessing and then it's feeding back actual results from posts?
Yeah, it downloads the stats. So Typefully has the analytics as well, so you can download the stats and then it can learn from it and update itself.
That's awesome. So on a typical, like, how often are you posting on LinkedIn?
Right now, I need to do it more, to be honest. You see, I have all these drafts. I need to update them. But I've had good posts. It's like I've had recent posts with hundreds of likes and comments. It's not too bad. But the truth is, as I said in the post, I don't believe LinkedIn posting is very important. I believe growing your email list I'll tell you, I make way more money working on my email list than I do posting on LinkedIn.
And how are you primarily driving that?
You mean the email list?
Yeah.
It's like web traffic, and then after that, it's like I run the email list directly through Claude Code as well, connected to a tool called Bento, and we make regular offers, etc. And yeah, that's what makes you money.
Is that the course that I think I forgot what it was called because I signed up for it. What's the platform that you have the subscription?
The course we have is called AI Accelerator, and it's on Circle, but that's not the same tool. Circle is a membership platform, and Bento is an email tool.
No, I'm saying that is as far as your product spread, is it primarily the Circle subscription? And
Mostly,
that's
yeah.
when you're selling, it's just selling people back to this thing?
Yeah, and then you can break out parts of it as well, sell individual pieces for like cheaper, or you can make special offers. It's like, yeah, we just kind of break down the offer into 1,000 different offers to get people in and then just grow from there, yeah.
And so the Circle platform, this is similar to something like Kajabi or School or something like that?
It's a bit better built, to be honest. I've tested them all. Circle is better built. It's just built by engineers, whereas Kajabi and School is built by marketers, so they're a little bit less tech savvy.
And that's because I wanted to say that I thought I've been in some Circle groups outside of yours that were more like, it almost felt like it was a WhatsApp or like a chat group, and those exist also, but it's not necessarily, it doesn't have to be for that, obviously.
No, we do this. We try to do a qualitative community. I think it really depends how much you charge for these things as well. If you charge more, people care more. If you're in free groups, people care less, basically. Again, we have, I think, 16 years of experience selling info products. And yeah, we're quite used to that, but it's because we're not so cheap. And as a result, people are a little bit more engaged, basically. They're more restrained in the way they communicate, basically.
Yeah, interesting. It's super yeah, I think it's fascinating, the ability right now, and I feel like because of how quickly everything is evolving, I'm noticing, like, you find a sweet spot in what the price is that someone's willing to pay, and not like, even if they're not using it every single day, they still get enough value to, like, come check on it periodically.
I mean, the way it works is like we actually build skills for people, right? You can download them on our platform, etc. So you don't just get information. A lot of people don't consume our information. They just like get one skill per year, and that saves them way more money than what they spend on us. And so they just stay subscribed because they're waiting for the next drop and the next skill that will help their business.
So your primary thing is, like, who is your ICP? Who are you targeting?
Mostly online business owners.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm thinking that in the painting world, doing something like this, I guess I would ask you if I were to, because one of the things that is a struggle on our end is we do these very high ticket, like boutique custom installations of software for painting companies. So it's high dollar, but because they're paying a lot, they expect a lot, and they should. So then there's the other end of the coin of like selling a course or again, there's various even in that, like, I'm sure spectrums of courses in your opinion, but how should I be thinking about the painting, like reapproaching what I'm doing in painting to scale to thousands of people that are paying $100 a month instead of right now we have, 28 clients that are paying thousands a month.
You walk back from there. So it's like you kind of start productizing your stuff. So it's like you go from like, I don't know, 50 clients paying you thousands to like 200 paying you $500 a month on like a lower commitment product. Like when we launched this, for example, we just basically just literally just messaged people we knew that would be interested and sold them on a higher level membership that has more services. It was like 2000 a year or something. And then we kind of regressed from that and made lighter and lighter plans. And as the marketing expands, you just get more demand as the price drops, right? And then you just walk backwards and you take the people who pay little and you walk ways of getting them to pay more, basically.
Yeah. Interesting. But it's specifically in painting, it's just like business operations. So one of the things I've thought about is with AI, and I'm curious if you've done things like this or if this is the right way to think about it. We're building custom apps for painting companies. And so one of the things I've thought about is continue to show how we build custom apps and just let people build them themselves. Um, but that seems like it's hard to know how much of our ability is just because we're obsessed and super interested in this versus like the lower lift things that more painting companies would get value out of. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it's just like they don't necessarily want to learn how to do it. They just want it done, right? It's like, so you need to find if it's just a one off in their company, they don't need to maintain the skill for it. Like they're only willing to invest in skills that are constantly required in terms of what they need to do. If the app is only a one-off, then it's better as a service, and then you need to find something else to sell them as a continuity program, basically.
Mm. So you're basically, or if I'm distilling down what you're selling in the course, it's you're working on skills all the time. Do you still do consulting,
A
or do
little
you just
bit.
focus
I have a
100%?
consulting call actually very soon right now. So yeah, I do it regularly. Yeah.
And then you charge more for the consulting, and then all the ideas you get from consulting, you
Yeah.
package them into smaller products.
Yeah, consulting is $1,000 a month with me, actually, for example. And we talk once a month, and then you can DM me outside of that. And so, but yeah, it keeps me in touch with real problems, and I work closer to real business problems as well. So it's a good thing.
Yeah. So basically, you $1,000 a month, and you can meet for an hour, or how long?
Yeah.
A 1 hour call, and then you can DM you, and you'll answer back with questions or answers to
Yep.
those questions. And that's your essentially your content for everything else you're doing.
Not necessarily, because people have very specific needs as well. And so as a result, it's like quite often the stuff that I help them with doesn't apply to everyone else. So it's like it's not true that you can just take that content and give it to everyone else. Some of it applies, and what most importantly, it highlights the weaknesses people have in their implementation because you're closer to it. And so that is interesting, but it's not necessarily the stuff that you do for them. It's more like what you notice in how they do things wrong, and then you just make content that helps everyone else not make the same mistake.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, that's like the do you when you're doing consulting, I'm assuming that you're very cautious about not providing anything that you would have to continue to support. You're basically just a teacher or a coach.
I point them in the right direction. I highlight the mistakes, and I do the research for like the big plans they have, etc. But they're responsible for building. Yeah, that's why they need to own it, basically. So that's the thing. So like I help them plan it. I'll help them research it. I use my experience to avoid costly mistakes for them. And then they're in charge for putting it together, basically.
Free book recommendations or podcast, just like content uh, sources that you would highly recommend.
It's like I have weird weird things I listen to. I mostly listen to books and I mostly listen to audiobooks at the gym. I actually don't read physical books very much, but I listen to books as I'm walking around or at the gym. All the hormozy stuff is very good. Like 100 million business models. I think that's the last one. It's very good. I don't like the second one. I don't like 100 million leads, but I like $100 million offer. Very, very good. You're asking me about how to package things, etc. Probably first book for you to read. $100 million offer. I still like the classics, like Influence. Cialdini is kind of like a big one for me as well. I guess I always go back to that, like, proof, scarcity, authority, etc. When I build sales pages or sales pitches, it's like I'm always kind of like relying on these pillars as a framework of how to convince people to buy what I sell.
That's Robert
Cialdini, yeah.
Okay, so that's 2, and what's the third one?
Cashvertising, which is a copywriting book, and you'd be like, why do I need to learn copywriting when I have AI? I actually want to make a skill out of this book, but it will help you understand what's good and not good when it comes to AI generated content that convinces people.
What's the book called again?
Cashvertising.
Cashvertising?
Yeah. It's basically 100
advertising and cash. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, it's kind of like a copywriting rules, like tips and tricks, how to write to convince people, basically. And it's like, it doesn't mean you have to write the copy, but you will know what to ask for to the AI. And you will know what's good and what's not good. It will develop your taste, and taste is everything in the world of AI.
Interesting. Okay, and then this is just for fun. Movie or show suggestion?
Movie or show suggestion? Let me think. The Knights of the Seven Kingdom was really good. I liked it a lot. It's the new Game of Thrones show. Like I know the end of Game of Thrones was terrible, but this felt almost better. This felt like the first season of Game of Thrones. Very good.
Okay. Knights of the Okay. Not on HBO. Awesome. And if someone wants to get in touch or learn from you, what's your call to action, or should they reach out?
If you go on authorityhacker.com, if you go on the homepage, you'll have a call to action to get a free video lesson on how to set up Claude Code and the kind of stuff that we do with it. So if you want to see a lot of the stuff that we talked about in action, you can just go and check that out.
Awesome. All right. Well, Gael, appreciate the knowledge dropping and sharing all that stuff. Yeah, we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for listening. My name is Chris Kiefer, and my mission is to champion the relentless pursuit of purpose. And what that means to me is to be an example, a champion, someone that is in the trenches, working and showing and winning and trying and failing in how to pursue a deeper and more meaningful life with the people that I love, with my kids, with my friends, with our family, and also just be a champion and example of entrepreneurship and following my passion and doing what I believe I'm called to on this earth. And so if that inspires you in some way, please share this episode. If you want, like, subscribe, share, whatever, do all the stuff. It means the world to me to get this message and get these guests that I have out there. And if you're interested in any of the book recommendations or looking up other episodes of the movie list, you can visit my website, chriskiefer.com, for all the details on the show, and also check out the Boolean review software, as well as the Boolean automation consulting company that I own for home service businesses. So thank you so much, and we'll see you on the next episode.